Have you ever wished that you could go into a meal feeling more normal, not have to worry about blood sugars, maybe just dive right into that delicious food? Today's episode, I want to cover the pre-bolus, a mistake that I made that I hope you can learn from, as well as a tough to swallow truth I think a lot of us diabetics need to hear. So without any further ado, let's get into our theme song. I've spent the last 10 years pushing the limits while identifying trends and patterns in my type 1 diabetes management. Follow along as I learn, apply, and share the fitness, nutrition, and lifestyle strategies that I've learned from diabetes experts around the world. The real question is, how can we live fearlessly with diabetes while maintaining stable blood sugars? This podcast is here to give you the answer. My name is Matt Vandervecht, head coach and co-founder of FTF Warrior, and welcome to Pardon My Pancreas. Not too long ago, I went out to dinner with my family and my wife, and it was a fantastic meal. Like, honestly, everything else aside, the hard lesson I had to learn, food was amazing, which I think is what made this particular situation so interesting. The food came out, and I had a feeling that I'm sure many of you have experienced as well, where I saw the food, I saw everybody else digging into the food, and I thought to myself, how important is the pre-bolus really? How much leeway do I have here? Kind of glanced at my blood sugars, I looked at my plate, dosed for the food, guessed my best for how many carbs I was going to be eating there, and kind of sat there for a second, pondering, thinking, okay, I'm going to let the pre-bolus hit, right? 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever I decide is the correct ratio of time for that specific meal. And about 5 minutes in, I see everybody else has a couple bites into their plates, just rubbing their bellies, the scrumptious food. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. My blood sugar is like 95 right now. I think I can make this. I've got enough room for whatever spike is gonna happen. Maybe I hit like 160, 170, and then I'll come back down. So I made that spot decision just to go for it. It's like, I'm gonna dive in. And the food was incredible. Now, about halfway through my meal, I kind of had this moment of like, almost regret, where I was like, did I make a bad decision? The pre-bolus, I did not give the full amount. Guess we'll just have to see where this goes. I jumped back into conversation, we're laughing, we're having a good time with the good food and just kind of sharing stories about what's been going on in our lives recently. End of meal comes around, blood sugars don't look terrible, right? They're slowly starting to rise. I'm like, okay, maybe it wasn't that big of a deal. About 10 minutes later, I hear an alarm go off for my CGM. It's an alarm for the arrow up, which means rapidly rising blood sugars. And I think to myself, oh no, what have I done? And I glance over at my pump and see a very frightening sight. I see that there's an arrow up with my blood sugars at 235. Oh, I just kind of, I feel the pain right now that I felt in that moment of like, oh no, right? It's too late. We've passed the point of no return. You have a high blood sugar, Matt, hyperglycemia. And so immediately I'm just like, well, that was silly. I made a mistake. And honestly, going back into that decision that I made, it was, I wanted to feel normal, right? I didn't want to have to sit there and wait 15, 20 minutes, whatever the pre-bolus was, and watch everybody else eat their foods. I wanted to feel part of that moment. I wanted to enjoy food with them. And so I made the choice to skip over the bulk of my pre-bolus, shot way up. As you can tell, it was about 150 points in the end that I ended up jumping. And it was frustrating, to say the least. And in fact, I'll show a screenshot of what that lack of pre-bolus did. I'll put it right there for you guys watching the video. For those of you who are listening, it was cruising at 95 for hours, and then just a very abrupt up, and it shows arrow up at 235. But that, to me, is a nice, not so gentle reminder that, while we can try to push for a more normal life and, make plans and really try to do our best with diabetes, there are still certain aspects of our diabetes that we cannot gloss over, that we have to implement strategies for. Now, of course, there are different ways that I could have approached that situation. Are there ways for me to manipulate my blood sugars, my insulin sensitivity in order to only require a 5-minute pre-bolus? Yes, absolutely. Could I have ordered a different type of meal that required less of a pre-bolus? Yes. Absolutely. I didn't want to. I wanted that specific dish. But there are absolutely different ways that we can incorporate different strategies in order to manipulate the pre-bolus timing, the bolus itself, how much insulin am I taking. We have control over a lot of these variables if you know how to tweak those variables, right? If you're able to fine tune your diabetes management, yes, you can 100% make better decisions to better prepare for those types of events. So when you are eating out with family, you don't have to sit there for 15 minutes and just stare at your food. There's strategies that you can kind of surround those situations with to make them go a lot smoother, to feel more normal. But, and this is the hard truth that I want to express today, because I feel like this is something a lot of us need to hear. If someone is allergic to peanuts, like deathly allergic, would you go up to them and say, come on, don't you want to feel normal? Just eat this handful of peanuts. You'll be fine. No, because you could kill them, right? And there are a lot of us that treat diabetes as this optional thing. Like, oh, yeah, I need insulin to survive, but I might as well just skip it this one time. I forgot my insulin at home, so we'll just eat and I'll figure it out later. No, you're different, okay? And that's fine. I'm different too. The fact that I didn't pre-bolus, and we can see on my CGM graph how rapidly my blood sugar shot up, shows that I am different, and I do require a plan. Now, if I have the right plan, I don't have to feel so different, right? If I know going into it how to adjust my pre-bolus, adjust the dosing strategies, if I have the understanding and that knowledge going into it, I can empower myself to make better decisions to avoid any issues with my blood sugars while still being in that moment and present and enjoying the food that I want to eat with my family, right? But understanding that there are certain things in life that we do have to plan ahead for, right? We have someone who's allergic to nuts. You're not going to go and try to force feed them nuts just because they want to feel normal, because you could kill them. And then we don't want to have that kind of a situation with our own diabetes, right? Oh yeah, I should pre-bolus, but I never do because it's inconvenient. Who cares? This is your health we're talking about, right? And this is a conversation I've had with quite a few diabetics like myself, and just seeing different perspectives on, taking a couple extra minutes before you eat your food can make a massive difference. And that's why I wanted to show that screenshot of just perfect blood sugars, perfect blood sugars, perfect. Whoa, we're taking off because I didn't pre-bolus the full amount, right? If somebody, I think the food allergy is the best example I can give here, but let's say if someone's got a broken leg and they're in a cast and they want to go surfing, are you going to tell them to go in the ocean with their cast? They're not supposed to get wet? No. You're going to say, okay, rest up, do what you're supposed to do, we'll go out next time, right? Sometimes adjustments have to be made. And so I wanted to give that example, but also let you understand that within diabetes management, while we don't get to play the same spontaneous eating game that most people do, right? You can't just say, I want to eat, okay, eat, right? There is a certain strategy of, I have to count my carbs, I have to take the proper insulin, I have to give the insulin time to work depending on which type of insulin you're taking. But if you can set the proper foundations there, you can still do everything that you want to do, right? It just requires the proper plan to get into that place. And so part of today was I wanted to share that lesson with you to reiterate how important it is to pre-bolus and show you an example of me making a mistake, because there's a third component here, and that is human error. All too often, we think that there is just numbers with diabetes. We think that it's a good blood sugar, it's a bad blood sugar. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? We forget to realize that sometimes our own habits, our own routines, our own decisions come into play. For me, I made a choice not to pre-bolus the full amount, and I paid heavily for that. Now thankfully, I cut that off before it got too high. I saw that arrow up at 235 and was like, hey, who wants to go for a walk? Let's go walk around. And they were all very willing, and I was able to stop it before it got above 250 and eventually bring it back down, but it took some extra work. Now, that decision that I made impacted my blood sugars. It wasn't a question of did I take enough insulin, it was I made a choice to not pre-bolus the full amount. And so our choices, our decisions, our emotional reactions can have an impact on our blood sugars as well. It's so important to see this from a holistic approach, just the 360 degrees, exercise impacts, and insulin timing, your specific type of diet, the choices that you make, it all comes into play here. But if you understand the foundations of what we're doing, you can fine tune it and make small adjustments and tweaks in order to live what we would consider a more quote-unquote normal life, which that's an entirely different episode of what is normal, right? Because everyone's got something that they wouldn't consider quote-unquote normal, but we would, right? Normal is, it's up to you what you define as normal, ultimately. It's a very interesting discussion. Anyways, wanted to bring that to your attention that yes, I too make mistakes. Yes, sometimes I do have an arrow up at 235 and I have to, let's go for a walk to get it back down. Sometimes I make decisions that are not the best for my blood sugars as well, but with the proper planning, with the proper strategies, yes, you can feel normal, but you must follow the rules. If you're allergic to peanuts, don't eat peanuts. If you need to take the proper amount of insulin to keep your blood sugars in range, take the darn proper amount of insulin and give it its chance to work, right? Then life gets so much easier. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about how to fine-tune your pre-bolus, if you don't know what a pre-bolus is, if you don't know how to properly dose for your carbs, for your insulin ratios, all these different things, these are foundational, these are crucial for you to understand in order to live that quote-unquote normal life, right? To have freedom and flexibility in your approach to how you go out to eat at restaurants and how you go play sports and how to live your highest quality life. Those things are crucial. If you have no idea what that is, or if you realize there's some room for fine-tuning, some room for improvement, I've got 2 resources for you, and both of them go in depth into what I call the Pre-Bolus Formula. How to have certainty, right? I knew exactly how many minutes I should have waited. I made the choice not to wait, but I know how long I should wait based on different situations. The pre-bolus does actually change based on a few surrounding variables. So if you're looking for trainings on how to do that, I've got 2 different options for you. Both of them are free, okay? And they have opportunities to upgrade and go deeper into specific topics if that is what suits you. But first resource I want you to go to is fearlessdiabetic.com. That resource alone, it has helped thousands of people realize their true potential with blood sugars, have a deeper understanding of how things work, and it's actually where I interviewed 30 plus other type 1 diabetes experts, all of them living with type 1 diabetes. It's a free resource, go grab that. If you choose to upgrade, that is where you can grab my Pre-Bolus Formula, okay? Get a deeper look into that. The only other place in existence that you can grab that Pre-Bolus Formula is working directly with me, okay? Where I obviously go a bit deeper, it's more customized to you. If that is something you're looking for, then the first step to working with me is to see if you even like me, to see if you even agree with the things that I teach on. And that is also a free training you can grab at diabetesinaction.com. Okay, so free resource with me interviewing a bunch of other experts, fearlessdiabetic.com, upgrade to grab the Pre-Bolus Formula. Only other spot you can get that is working directly with me. First step to doing that is going to watch a free training to see if you even like the way that I teach, and that's at diabetesinaction.com. So there's 2 links, Fearless Diabetic and Diabetes in Action, both of them are .com. I will see you over there. Make sure you are taking time to make proper decisions for your diabetes care. Be sure to implement these steps into your life, learn from my mistakes, but also realize that you're gonna make mistakes too, and to give yourself grace. All right, if you haven't yet already, please do subscribe. Leave a comment saying what's up. I will be sure to get back to you. Love seeing your support in the comments. Have an amazing day and keep up the fight.